Walking into Sikia Cafe, you'd think it's like any other cafe that you might have walked into. You're welcomed at the entrance with a huge smile and ushered into the cafe. When you get here, there's always someone to welcome you, but you might have to learn a sign or two to be able to order for anything that you want. Have you ever imagined using sign language to order for a meal? Well, at Sikia Cafe in Jinja, 90% of the staff here have speech and hearing impairments, and they include the waiters, waitresses, and chefs. Getting in, you wouldn't tell until you have to order for a meal. I had to learn sign language to order for my 2 scoops of strawberry ice cream. My order was delivered exactly how I wanted it. For some customers who find it hard to use sign language, there are other options for taking their orders.
So if someone looks like they don't like their order, you just give them a book to write.
Where then did Nakuwaid and her husband get this idea from?
Actually, next to our home where I grew up, there was a school for disabled kids, and we used to go there for coaching, coaching with a school next to home. So I started living with them. I got to know them, and I wanted to do something with them when I grew up.
Shadia Nakuwaid and her husband, who are the proprietors of Sikia Cafe, say it was important for them to actively involve the differently abled people in the enterprise, as they are usually left out in the society.
If I ask you now, like, how many times have you talked to someone who's deaf? Not that many times, but at least when you come here, people kind of open up to them. You can see that they can do what they're doing well.
However much these employees with speech and hearing impairments have mastered the art of communicating with their customers, the beginning was never easy for them because it was the first restaurant of its kind in the area.
The first time people come in, they try to talk to them, but we tell them. Some people are open to it and some are not. So that's why you see that all the waiters don't hear, because that way you have no option but use one of the deaf waiters. At first we thought of putting one person that hears, but then we noticed that customers would point to the one that hears. So every time a customer, especially in the first days, I would always teach them how to say thank you, because it's something that you have to say everywhere.
Shadi and her husband have a reason as to why they named their cafe Sikia, which means listen.
Listening doesn't have to be with hearing. You can use the eyes, you can use the body language, as long as you see someone, you hear them, and you understand them.
Seeing these youth actively involved in the everyday to-day running of her business is fulfilling for her. She adds that her staff is easy to work with and reliable. With the use of an interpreter, Aisha Kauma, one of the waitresses with speech and hearing impairment, says she's grateful for the opportunity to serve.
Now, as I continue working, God helped me. I got a job at Sikia. I was appointed to work here. So now all my suffering stopped. I began working at least in a decent employment. I work with people. Work is not so manual, and that's how I've really transformed.
Nakuwaid and her husband used a friend who connected them to an organization that deals with those with speech and hearing impairments, where they started their recruitment drive. Like other jobs, they were subjected to an interview and the successful applicants were hired.
It was mostly sign language, one-on-one, because of the fact that some didn't study, so some of them writing is not, they don't know how to write well. So it was mostly a verbal interview. And mostly to get to know.
Interestingly, the customers there are full of praises of the services in this place, in particular being served by waiters and waitresses with speech and hearing impairments.
They give you more attention because you're eager to hear from them, and you also want to communicate what you want to them. Also, the menu has those signs like, are you going to take home? Oh, yeah.
They receive you with a smile, even though they cannot speak to you, but they have, I can say, priceless smiles.
Shadi and her husband have a dream of expanding the cafe to cater for other youth with different disabilities. Olivia Komgisha, NTV Tonight.